Hey guys, Runnerfru here, and in this video, we're going to be unboxing and talking about this. This is the $219 KASTKING Kestrel Elite BFS reel. So far, it seems like this reel has been getting reviewed very well, and I wanted to see if that's the case because KASTKING's overall brand image isn't really the best. And what I mean by that is they're generally perceived as being a budget-focused brand that is sold almost exclusively on Amazon. So they are a Chinese domestic market brand, but they're a little bit different because they actually have communication with some American-based influencers, and what I mean is RAR Fishing specifically. I believe it's his work and input that allowed the KASTKING Zephyr to come to the US market. Anyways, let's get to it. This intro has been really long. Okay, so there's some tape to be cut. So bear with me on this. This is actually my first KASTKING reel. I've never owned a KASTKING reel before, and so this is going to be really brand new to me. And this whole unboxing experience is really new to me as well. Okay, so right off the bat, it does seem like the packaging is somewhat iPhone, Apple-esque, and I'm not going to do all the information because you've probably seen other videos on that, and we're not going to go into what's inside the box other than the reel. We're just going to look at the reel today because there's a lot of points that I want to touch on, and yeah, it's just going to be too long, I think. All right, so there it is. The KASTKING Kestrel. All right, so let me get this out. And here it is, guys. So if you want to look at it, I'll do a really quick kind of turn around. And yeah, so it does seem like it is a kind of semi-matte paint job. The finish is not really the best, and I'm not really that big a fan of these matte finish paint jobs, and the reason why is because if you compare it to, say, something like a Solo King Acura, which has a gloss finish, these gloss finish paint jobs, they feel like it's easier to grip them and not let the reel slip. I mean, you're still holding it in a rod, and so you're probably not going to lose your reel, but you know, I just I don't know, I'm just not really that big of a fan of these matte finish paint jobs. I think they look cool, but in practice I'm not too enthused about them. Let's get on to the first topic, which I want to talk about, which is Palmability. And so this reel is tiny. It's like really small compared to, say, a 2022 Shimano Aldebaran and also the Solo King Acura, which these two are my reels. This is also my reel now, but the Aldebaran, you know, it's kind of chunky to me at least, and it feels really nice to palm in your hand. Of course, palmability is very personal. You know, certain reels are gonna, you know, I feel like I have pretty average size hands, and to me, the Aldebaran feels really nice in the hand. And also the front cover is nice because I don't feel like I'm touching this little plastic nut on the line guide. That compares to the Acura, in which it also feels nice to palm personally, but this little plastic nut is kind of exposed, and so when I retrieve, if I have my finger there, it kind of interferes with that. But let's see, what about the Kestrel? So the Kestrel, the front cover, it does seem like it's kind of moved forward, so it doesn't feel like that's going to be too much of an issue. And the reel is really small. So just holding it in the hand, it feels kind of almost too small to me. But let's see what it looks like on a rod. So I've got my Fishman Beams Blanc Sierra 4.8 UL, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the reel seat here. And this is kind of the pistol style grip, so you can see right there. And yeah, actually that feels kind of nice. I mean, because it's so small, I don't feel like it's you know, it's taking up too much space in my hands or anything like that. I feel like I'm more gripping the rod than the reel. And because of that, it's actually fairly easy to use the clutch button. And that's on a pistol style grip. And then I have another rod, and this is your very traditional, you know, native trout style rod. This has a metal trigger, and I like to do a two-handed grip on this style. Yeah, that doesn't feel too bad either. I'd probably end up using more of a three-fingered grip on this style just because the reel is so tiny, but that just makes it so my thumb has to move a little bit more. So I feel like, you know, just holding it with a two-finger grip is more comfortable to me on this style of a handle. But anyway, so the palmability and the handling seems pretty nice personally, so that's pretty good. Let's talk about the retrieve. So the retrieve, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'm gonna put this up to the mic. I don't know if that's coming across to you, but there is kind of a, I don't know what you want to say. This is, there seems to be a little bit of resistance. So you can see that. It just stops. And I think, yeah, this is on the min setting. And let's check the side-to-side play. That's good. And what about drag? Let's tighten this up a little bit. Okay. So that's, it does seem like there's a little bit of resistance, and there's kind of a noise there, a geary sounding noise. And let's compare that to the Aldebaran. Sorry, the dog hair. Oops. So this is a lot freer. If you want to listen to this. So aside from that little jiggling sound that you guys can probably hear, there's no real sound from the gears. And that's in comparison to... Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we got the Soul King Acura, which is probably, in my opinion, it is much smoother than the KASTKING. And you can see right there that there's way less resistance on this. And this reel is not modified. So, yeah, I'm not sure what that's all about. I'm wondering if this is just like really, really, really heavily greased on the inside. And I guess the geary feeling, that's going to be also personal preference. If you're okay with that, then great. But if you're not okay with that, then yeah, maybe this is not the reel for you. Okay, so let's move on to the next point. Let's talk about the braking. So let's try to see the braking. So this is on the min, the absolute min setting right there. And again, the side-to-side play. There's a little bit of spool side-to-side play. And it doesn't seem like it's very free. And I think other YouTubers are finding this as well. I believe Obi-Wan Kenobi is the one who said that after he cleaned his bearings, that everything kind of freed up. But, I mean, compare that to the Aldebaran, which... You know, this is on brake setting 1, which is the lowest, and the spool side-to-side play is about the same as this. But that just, you know, spins for on and on and on. And the Soul King Acura, which is also on the lowest brake setting, it's not the most, excuse me, it's not the most free spooly, but it's a lot more than this. So I don't know what that's all about, but in the teardown video, we'll find out what's going on, I guess. All right, so let's take a look at the handle. I'm not really a fan of this handle so much. I mean, if you can look at it, it's really kind of cheap and cheesy looking, if you ask me. And the knobs, I'm not really the biggest fan of this. I much prefer the Aldebaran's handles, where it's kind of more ergonomic and kind of smooth. The Kestrel does feel a little funny, and yeah. What about the, let's see if there's any kind of slop in the knobs, and it seems like there's a little bit, which is pretty standard. Ooh, let's take a listen to this. So those bearings in the handle knob sound like there's rocks in them, but here's the other one. I would say that one's even worse, actually. So that's kind of a downside as well. The bearings sound like they're pretty bad. Okay, let's move on. Next point. Let's take a listen to the drag. So here's the drag star sound. And I'll do it off camera and at the mic. It's pretty muted. And then let's take a listen to the actual drag itself. And on the mic. So it sounds pretty good. I mean, I think I kind of prefer the Aldebaran, which is like it's really clicky in comparison. And then you've got the Acura, which is really soft and muted in comparison. These two reels actually sound very similar. It's just this is really quiet compared to this. Yeah, similar tones. This one's really soft and kind of muted almost. This one's a little bit louder, and then this one's definitely the loudest. So, you know, if you want to show off to everybody that you've got a fish on, then I guess the Aldebaran is the reel for you. Okay, side plate. Let's go ahead and check out the side plate. So it looks like the brake knob is fairly nice. It's really, really easy to turn. And it looks like there's a maximum of 10 settings with a half setting in between each number. And that's kind of in comparison to like the Aldebaran, where you can kind of get to it with your thumb, but it's really, really tight. And then the Acura, which is, you know, really easy. So it's maybe if there was something in between these two would be nice, because then you wouldn't, you know, maybe potentially change the settings mid-cast. Whereas this one, you actually have to take your hand off completely and then change the setting and then get it back on. So it's a matter of personal preference, again, whether or not you like this style. Okay, so it looks like this is locked. And it looks like this style of side plate comes off. So, oh, interesting. So I guess, yeah, this style of side plate is not the tilt down style. And this is something that you just kind of have to remove. I kind of don't like that. And the reason why I don't like that is because, you know, if this becomes slippery ever, then you're going to have kind of a harder time. And this locking mechanism doesn't feel very solid to me. Like, it feels like there's some clearance or tolerance issues or something with this. Anyways, let's take this out, and here it is, the Flyout Arc system, which is almost a direct copy. Not a direct copy. They've changed it just enough so that it's not a direct copy to the Aldebaran, where I think part of the reason why most people are finding that this reel is over-braked is because it doesn't have this metal ring. From my understanding, this metal ring basically cancels out a lot of the magnetic forces that are coming off these magnets on the brake shoes. So this one doesn't have any of that. In addition to that, the Aldebaran brakes go fairly far into the side plate, whereas on this reel, this is, let's see, let's set it to the min setting. It looks like that's, you know, the most in that it's going to go. And so I'm going to take out the spool. If you can see how far in I mean, like the spool probably sit about there. So the magnets go in pretty far to the spool, and I think that's part of the reason why the reel feels so overbraked. And I'm not really that big a fan of this overbraked feeling. So I kind of hope that KASTKING will kind of make some modifications to the brake system, make them a little bit weaker, or, you know, tweak the brake system somehow. So there is that, and here's the spool. I will do you know, weights of everything when I do my teardown video, and I'll go ahead and remove the bearing to get the weight on that as well. And it does look like, I can't tell if that's grease or what that is, glue or something like that. When I touch it, it kind of goes in, but I don't know if you guys can see. There's like a little bit of extra, I don't know, something glossy there. It looks like a glue of adhesive of some sort. Anyways, that's kind of weird. The spool does feel really, really lightweight, and yeah, it looks like it's machined pretty well. Feather spool. Anyways, okay, so yeah, it looks like I pretty much covered all of the points that I wanted to get to in this video. Do I like the reel? Well, so with all of the kind of minor gripes that I'm covering, I feel like I'm not really too enthused with the reel. And part of the reason is because right before I made this video, I searched online and I went to digitaka.com and I looked up the price of the 2022 Shimano Aldebaran, and they actually do have stock of the right-handed HG model. Right now, this reel is selling for about $266 US. So for about $40 more than the Kestrel, you can get a made in Japan reel, which I feel like has a better build quality overall than this reel. It's not perfect. The Aldebaran's not perfect, but you know, this reel is trying to be an Aldebaran for, I think the value proposition is that it's a little bit more expensive than a Shimano Corrado BFS. And so then I did the next search on the Shimano Corrado BFS, which is still $200, but the JDM equivalent is the SLX BFS, and that reel is actually selling for about $144. Granted, they only have the, what is it, like 6.2 or 6.3 gear ratio version of that reel, but it's in stock, and $144, you're going to be saving $80 on this reel. So it's kind of hard to recommend this reel based on those price points. And then you have this reel at the very other end of the spectrum, and this reel is about $70 shipped and gives you maybe about 90% of what this reel offers. Maybe a little bit less, maybe like 80%, 75%. But still, you can get 3 of these reels with 2 spools, a deep spool and a shallow spool, in a 7.1 or an 8.1 gear ratio for $70. I mean, I don't really see the need for a $219 plus tax KASTKING reel that's trying to be a Shimano Aldebaran when you can just get a Shimano Aldebaran, or you can go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So yeah, we'll see what the insides look like on the next video. I'm really excited to get into this reel and tear it down and share what I find with you guys. Hopefully it's like not anything special, but you know, we'll see. And what I mean by that is it's not anything bad, but yeah, like I said, we'll see what that's like in the next video. And anyways, I really appreciate you guys watching all the way through. I'm sorry that this video took so long, but yeah, I'm not super happy with this reel. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.